Good morning, student. Good morning to all of you. Today is the last story I am going to present before you. Today we shall see the short story written by a Russian writer, Anton Chekhov. He is very famous writer all over the world for his simplicity, simple language and subject showing the social problem. It's the writing of the writer start from the village and emerge in verse. Means from simplicity to spirituality. If you see the simple one act play that is prescribed for 10th standard, that is the proposal. It is also a simple story. Next year, of course, you will go through it. And this year, this is the story, The Beggar. Very touching story. I will not disclose any point because it is full of suspense, and it is the writer who brings about a change in the life of such a person who is very lazy, who does not want to work at all for his survival, and for that he goes on speaking lie, he goes on cheating other people by telling this and that. Fortunately, it happens that the writer has seen him somewhere else, and he immediately recognizes him that this is the person who has been cheating others throughout his life by speaking lie. So the writer asks him to work hard because work is the only solution to all problems. Finally, the writer gives him work of chopping the wood at his home. And there is another character which is very important in these short stories, that is the role of cook, Olga. She actually does the very important role in this short story. Don't forget the character of that cook. Now, I will start the story directly. I will read the story to you. And please, if you do not understand, you just ask me when I will finish my first paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph, after that. And if you come across new words, try to understand, try to gauge the meaning of that word according to situation, according to the circumstances of the story. That is the way how to understand the meaning of new word. And if you have time, if time allows you, go to the last of the lesson. The galaxy of the new word is given there. But you see the galaxy at home, not in the class. Otherwise, while I am reading to you, you will not pay attention to what I am reading to you. So please see new word after word at your home and not in the classroom. So now the scene starts like this. A beggar is there and he is telling the writer. And what is he telling the writer? See here, beggar. The beggar is telling, kind sir, have a pity. Turn your attention to a poor, hungry man. Shall I start it again? Kind sir, have pity. Turn your attention to a poor, hungry man. For 3 days I have had nothing to eat. I haven't 5 kopecks, it is Russian currency. I have not 5 kopecks for a lodging. I swear it before God. For 8 years I was a village school teacher. Now he is speaking lie. And then I lost my place through intrudes, means some secret plotting. I fell a victim to calumny, means slander, badnami. It is a year now since I have had anything to do. It is a year now since I have had anything to do. Means there was no job. The beggar requested the writer to pay attention to him. He had no money. He was hungry he had no job. He had no money for lodging. And before 8 years he had been a teacher, but he was fired because of some conspiracy, because of some secret plotting. He had to resign the job, and he had no money at all. The advocate, the writer, Sergei, look at the rag, frown colored overcoat of suppliant, at his dull, drunken eyes, at the red spot of either cheek, and it seems to him as if he had seen this man somewhere before. Now this is the description of the beggar. Actually he was a sot. Yes, what is sot? A heavy drunkard. He was always under the intoxication of wine, and he was looking like that. And as soon as the writer saw him, the writer remembered that he had seen him before somewhere else. I have now had an offer of a position in the province of Kaluga. The mendicant, the beggar, went on. But I haven't the money to get there. Help me kindly. I am ashamed to ask, but I am obliged to beg by circumstances. He was telling the writer that he had got appointment to present himself for the interview, but he had no money to go there, and so he was requesting the writer to give him money so that he could go for the interview, if the writer could help him. This Sergei eyes fell on the man's overshoes. Now he was having 2 different kind of shoes. Earlier the writer had seen it. Sergei eyes fell on the man's overshoes, one of which was high and other was low. And he suddenly remembered something. And what did the writer say? Look here. It seems to me I met you the day before yesterday in Surrogate Street. But you told me then that you were a student who had been expelled, not a village school teacher. Do you remember? Now the beggar's cheating was caught red-handedly, and so he was psychologically disturbed, and he started stammering, mumbling. No, that couldn't be so, mumbled the beggar, taken aback, surprised. I am a village school teacher, and if you like, I can show you my papers. The writer was very angry with that person, with that beggar. Have you done with lying? You called yourself a student and even told me what you had been expelled for. Don't you remember? Sergei flushed and turned from rag creature with expression of disgust. This is dishonesty, boss, the writer said to the beggar. This is dishonesty, my dear sir. This is swindling, means cheating. I shall send the police for you, damn you. Now the beggar agreed everything. The beggar confessed that he had spoken lie. Sir, he said, laying his hand on his heart like this, the fact is, I was lying. I am neither a student nor a school teacher. All that was fiction, story. Formerly, I sang in Russian choir and was sent away for drunkardness. But what else can I do? I can't get along lying. Without lying, no one will give me anything. When I tell the truth, what I can do? He said everything. He confessed his all mistakes. And so he said that the writer was right. He agreed that, he confessed that he was neither student nor what? Teacher. He was, or he had been doing work in some sort of orchestra. But because of his bad habit, he was thrown away. He was fired. And now nobody was ready to help him. And that's why he had taken the help of speaking lie. What can you do? You ask what you can do, cried Sereg, coming close to him. Work, Mr. Work. That is what you can do. You must work. Work? Yes, I know that myself, but where can I find work? How would you like to chop wood for me? The writer was giving him work of cutting the wood at his home. How would you like to chop wood for me? Then the beggar said, I would not refuse to do that. But in these days, even skilled woodcutter find themselves sitting without bread. Will you come and chop wood for me? Yes, sir, I will. Very well. Are you getting the conversation between the beggar and the writer? Yeah? Yes? Okay? Come on. Thank you. Very well. We will soon find out. Sereg hastened along, rubbing his hand. He called his cook, very good character. Remind, earlier I have told you about this character, helping nature, cooperative, out of the kitchen. Here Olga, her name was. Here Olga, said the writer, take the gentleman into the wood shed and let him chop wood for us. The scarecrow of beggar shrugged his shoulder as if in perplexity and went irresolutely after the cook. It was obvious from his gait that he had not consented to go and chop wood because he was hungry and wanted work, but simply for pride and shame, and was because he had been trapped by his own word. It was obvious too that his strength had been undermined by vodka, Russian wine, and that he was unhealthy and did not feel the slightest inclination for hard work. Sereg hurried into the dining room. From its window, one could see the wood shed and everything that went on in the yard. The writer could see through the window what was happening or what was going on in the shed of the wood. Sereg saw the cook and the beggar come out into the yard by the back door and make their way across the dirty snow to the shed. Olga glared, looked angrily at the companion, pushed him aside with elbow, means he nudged him, unlocked the shed and angrily banged the door. Next, he saw the pseudo-duplicate, fake. Next, he saw the pseudo-teacher seat himself on a log and become lost in thought with his red cheek resting on his fist the woman flung down an axe at his feet, spat angrily, and judging from the expression of her lip, began to abuse him, began to scold him. The beggar resolutely pulled the billet of wood towards him, log towards him, set up between his feet, and trapped it feebly, very delicately with the axe. The billet wavered and fell down. The beggar again pulled it to him, blew on the freezing hand, and tapped it with his axe cautiously, as if afraid of hitting his overshoes or cutting off his finger. The stick of wood again fell to the ground. Means he was not expert at all. He was not wood cutter. He was not able to chop the wood properly, and that's why it shows all this is indicated with his behavior with the log. It is clear that he was lazy. It is clear that he was not perfect in chopping the wood. Time and again he was taking the log in front of him, and he was trying to hit the log with the ox, but he was not successful. Serag's anger had vanished, and he now began to feel a little sorry and ashamed of himself for having set a spoiled drunkard, perhaps sick man, to work at a menial labor in the cold. Now writer was also ashamed of himself that he should have not given the hard work to such a hopeless man who was drunkard and weak in such that atmosphere. Writer was ashamed of himself for giving the work, heavy work of chopping the wood to a sick person, to a drunkard. Writer felt sorry for himself. At hour later, Olga came in and announced that the wood had all been chopped. Good, give him half ruble, said Sergei. If he wants to be, can come back and cut wood on the first day of each month. We can always find work for him. On the first day of month, the waif, the drunkard, the beggar made his appearance and again earned half a ruble. Although he could barely stand on his legs, from that day on he often appeared in the yard, and every time work was found for him. Means writer was always prepared, writer was always ready to give work to this man, to this beggar. And so in this way writer had been trying to help the beggar, the jobless man. Now he would shovel, pull snow, now put the wood shed in order. Now he started working slowly. Gradually he started working in that shed properly. He was in the habit of working. Now he tested the importance of hard work. Now beat the dust out of the rug and the mattress. Extracurricular work he started to do in the shed, that was observed by the writer. Very slowly he was coming on the right track. Every time he received, means every time the beggar received from 20 to 40 kopecks, and once even a pair of old trousers were sent out to him. Sometimes he used to get cloth from the writer, dresses from the writer. When Sergei moved into another house, he hired him to help in the packing. Now the writer had to change his apartment, and for shifting the material and articles, writer had hired him. Writer called him to help him in the packing and hauling of the furniture. This time the waif was sober. Now see, complete change had taken place in. Now he was sober, gloomy and silent. He hardly touched the furniture and walked behind the wagon, hanging his head, not even making a pretense of appearing busy. He was not showing that he was busy. Now with the treatment, with the kind treatment of the writer, he became a real man. He was not now he was not hypocrite. He was not a cheater. Now he was very simple man. He was very sober man. The change had taken place in him because of the writer's nature. And silent, he hardly touched the furniture and walked behind the wagon, hanging his head, not even making a pretense of appearing busy. He only shivered in the cold and became impressed when the carters jeered at him, laughed at him, poked at him for his idleness, his feebleness, and his tattered fancy overcoat. After the mowing was over, Sergei sent for him. Well, I am happy that my words have taken effect, he said, handing him a ruble. Here is for your pen. Here is for your pen. I see you are sober and have no objection to work. What is your name? The writer asked him what his name was. When the writer saw some kind of changes in the heart of that beggar, then and then the writer asked him his name. Lashkov, the beggar's name. Lashkov. Well, Lashkov, I can now offer you some other cleaner employment. Can you write? I can. Now this is the second way. This is the second time the writer was going to help. The writer was going to help this beggar. He asked him that he was going to give him some some light work, not heavy work of writing. And that's why a writer asked him whether he could write. Then he replied that, beggar replied that he could write. Then take this letter to a friend of mine tomorrow and you will be given some copying to do. Now see, advice of the writer, ADVICE. See the information of the writer. See how is writer giving him advice. See what does writer say? Work hard, don't drink, and remember what I have said to you. Good boy. These are the golden coin of advice. He advised him to work hard. Boys, in the world there is no alternative to hard work. In one of the lesson, Kapil agreed that he was yokel, he was simple, he was number one ranti, yokel, coming from the village, and he was very common person. But Kapil Dev went on working hard and work after joining the matrix of cricket, and for 16 years Kapil Dev had been playing for our country without any sort of injury, and that was only possible because of hard work. So writer advised him to work hard, and writer advised not to drink, and to remember what he had said to him. And the writer said to him, good boy. Pleased at having put a man on the right path, Sergei tapped Lashkov kindly on the shoulder and even gave him his hand at parting. Lashkov took the letter, and from that day forth came no more to the yard for work. After that incident, when writer asked him to go to his friend for the writing, after that he did not turn up to writer's home for any work there. After that he didn't turn up to writer for work. Means he got work of writing, copying at writer's friend's house. In this way, if the days are okay, if the days are fine, when they pass by, we did not know. In this way, 2 years passed by. Then one evening, as Sergei was standing at the ticket window of a theatre paying for his seat, he noticed a little man beside him with a coat collar of curly fur and worn silken cap This little individual timidly asked the ticket seller for a seat in the gallery and paid for it in copper coin. Lashkov, is that you? Cried the writer, recognizing in the little man his former wood chopper. How are you, Mr. Lashkov? What are you doing nowadays? How is everything with you? See how lovely, how kindly, how familiarly the writer was asking him. The writer was taking care of him. He asked him how he was. He asked him what he was doing. He asked him how everything with him was. Lashkov replied, "All right, I am a notary now." He became notary. Notary, that is a personal authorized person to draw up deeds. Now he became what? Now he was all right. I am now a notary now, and I am paid 35 rubles a month. He started getting very good salary for his work. Means who brought the change in the life of that beggar? The writer and other person. Later on we will see who was the other person who helped this beggar to bring a lot of change in his life. Thank heaven, that is fine. I am delighted for, the writer is telling, thank heaven, that is fine. I am delighted for your sake. I am, and in this way, let me tell you something. In this way, we should always try to help other, if it is possible for you, and try to change the life of such a hopeless person, if it is possible for you. That is the life. To serve human is to serve God. If it is possible, if it is possible for you to change the life of criminal, to change the life of lazy person like this, that is the greatest service. That is the greatest service in human life. Because there is difference between animal and human being. Human being is human being. He is not born for only eating. He is born to help others. Let me continue this. I am glad, the writer said, for your sake, I am very, very glad, Lashkov. You see, you are my godson, means adopted son, like son. You see, you are my godson. In a sense, I give you push along the right path. You remember what a roasting I give you. Okay, see the starting. He had abused, the writer had abused him by telling that he was a cheater, he was a deceiver, he was not good person, he was drunkard and what not. Writer actually roasted him, insulted him by telling all these things. I give you, I really had you sinking into the ground at my feet that day. Thank you, my friend. Old man means my friend. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, old man, for not forgetting my word. And in this way, whatever the advice the writer had given to him, the beggar was abide by it, and he tried to bring change in his life according to the advice of the writer. Thank you too, said Lashkov. If I hadn't come to you, then I might have still been calling myself a teacher or student to this day. Had the writer not met the beggar, then he would have been just begging, cheating other person. There would have been no change in his life. Yes, by flying to your protection, I drag myself out of a pit. I am very glad indeed, the writer said. Thank you for your kind words and deeds. I am very grateful to you and to your cook. Now see, the role of the cook started. Actually, what was the suspense? Now, pay 100% attention so that you will come to know how he became good person. Even the cook, who was poor lady like him, tried to bring a change in the life of that jobless person, and how she had helped him. See here in the word of that beggar. Thank you for your kind words and deeds. I am very grateful to you and to your cook. God bless that good and noble woman. Who is good and noble woman? Cook, Olga, according to Beggar, was good and noble lady. You spoke finely then. I shall be indebted to you to my dying day. But strictly speaking, it was your cook, Olga, who saved me. He agreed that it was the cook who had saved his life. How is that? The writer said, when I used to come to your house to chop wood, she used to begin. Now see, whenever he came at the beginning of the month to chop the wood for the writer, the lady was there in the shade. And what did she say? What would she used to say? What would she say? What did she used to say? Oh, you sot. Sot means drunkard. Oh, you sot. Oh, you sot. You. Oh, you miserable creature. There is nothing for you but ruin. And then she would sit down opposite me and grow sad, look into my face and weep. Oh, you unlucky man, there is no pleasure for you in this world, and there will be none in the world to come. You drunkard, you will burn in hell. Oh, you unhappy one. And so she should carry on. You know, sir, in that strain, I can't tell you how much misery she suffered, how many tears she shed for my sake. But the chief thing was, she used to chop the wood for me. कोई नहीं था वो बेगर उसका, फिर भी उसके लिए रोती थी और बोलती थी, हे इंसान, ईश्वर ने बहुत दुनिया खूबसूरत बनाई है सबके लिए एंजॉय करने के लिए, एंजॉय करने के लिए, लेकिन she said to him that there was no pleasure for him in that world and there will be none in the world to come. She was concerned, she felt sorry for him, and moreover she used to chop the wood for him. Do you know, sir, that I did not chop one single stick of wood for you. She did it all. Why this saved me? Why this saved me? Why I changed? Why I stopped drinking at the sight of her? I can't explain. He started giving respect to that lady. He started to look upon that lady as his mother. So he became teetotaler. He became teetotaler. He stopped drinking wine at all. He stopped drinking wine forever. Why I changed? Why I stopped drinking at the sight of her? I can't explain. I only know that owing to her words and noble deeds, a change took place in my heart. She set me right and I shall never forget it. However, it is time to go now, sir. There goes the bell. Lashkov bowed and departed to the gallery. In this way, the lesson comes to an end. I hope that you might have enjoyed the story and you might have also taken the moral out of this story. Thank you, thanks a lot. Thank you very much.